What's up guys, I'm here at Washington DC in the USA, about to head to Chicago on United Airlines on their Airbus A320 in first class. It's a really early morning here at Reagan National Airport in Washington DC, but it is a beautiful airport to start our days flying from. Despite showing my first class boarding pass, I was still redirected to the standard TSA line. It wasn't too bad really though, it only took about 15 minutes to get through. Like many airports in the US, United Airlines have their own pier here at Reagan National Airport. Now, one thing that really frustrated me here was the fact that even on a full-priced first-class fare, I wasn't allowed access to the United Airlines lounge. In fact, only international first-class customers are allowed lounge access in the US. Even Star Alliance Gold members are only allowed in if they're on an international flight. Whilst this is standard practice in the US, it's really frustrating, as in the rest of the world, anyone with a business class ticket or higher can gain access to the lounge. Even a free upgrade on a domestic flight gets you lounge access. I paid over $500 for this ticket compared to the $200 I could have paid in coach, and so far I have to say I was struggling to see what my extra $300 was paying for. Still, it looked nice from the outside, and I headed back to Starbucks to get my caffeine fix.
Also, I'd like to welcome families traveling with children under the age of 2. You're welcome to pre-board as well. For United Flight 531 to Chicago, gate 11. Group 1, welcome aboard.
And finally we were allowed to board. Well, that is after they'd boarded unaccompanied minors, customers with disabilities, active members of the military, United Global Services members, veterans of unpopular wars, families travelling with children, Premier 1K members, priests, nuns, rabbis, Premier Platinum members, Premier Gold members and Star Alliance Gold members. Then it was my time to board the flight. Now I have to say that the first class domestic seats on United Airlines are pretty nice. There are only 2 and 2 across the cabin, really big comfy leather seats, plenty of legroom and everything, and this is what you pay your money for, I guess, on the American Airlines. In Europe, domestic and European business class is usually just a row of 3 economy seats with the middle one blocked out, so you are actually getting a much better seat for your money here in the US. We were served a pre-departure cup of coffee, albeit in a paper cup. It wasn't much, but it was probably still more than they were getting down the back in coach. Due to the cold, damp weather outside, the air conditioning system was producing quite a bit of steam into the cabin. I know it's completely normal, but it's something that you don't see very often, and the captain came on to tell everybody what it was and not to panic.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. We just got a good question on the rainforest effect that we're having on board, coming out of the bins a little bit. Some of you might notice a little bit of a vapor coming out of the overhead bins or the sidewalls. But there's nothing to worry about. It is a combination of the humidity and the air conditioning. Sometimes that happens. Actually, when the engines kick on, excuse me, they get a little more power to it. It might actually get a little bit worse. But again, that's, we're just going for that nice rainforest cafe effect, a little show for you. But nothing to worry about. It's just condensation, and it will go away as we get underway. Thank you.
Taking off, just once again, please make sure your large personal electronic devices are unplugged from the outlet, turned off and stowed. Small layaway devices must be unplugged from the outlet, switched to airplane mode, and secured as well. Your tray table, carry-on items, and headrest should also be stowed. Please make sure your seat back is upright and your seatbelt is securely fastened. Food or beverage items must be collected or put away for departure. Thanks again for flying with
pushback and engine start happened on time and we started our taxi out to the runway. However, this didn't last for long. After a short taxi, our engines shut down and the captain came on to explain the problem.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck to captain. We were ready to go up here. Air traffic control was ready to let us go, but our load planning never got us our performance numbers in time, and we lost our wheels up slot into Chicago. So it's going to be another 20 to 25 minutes before we can depart. I've gone ahead and shut down the engines to save some fuel. I've got the AP running, air conditioning. I'm going to leave the seatbelt sign on. If you absolutely have to get up and use the lavatory, go ahead and do so, and feel free to use your cell phone in the meantime. I'll let you know when you need to turn off.
Half an hour later, the engine spun back into life and we commenced our taxi onto the active runway to take off, half an hour late from Washington DC. So as we lift off into the Great American Fog, here's an overview of the route that we took over to Chicago today. So we flew due west out of Washington DC towards West Virginia, before making a right turn up over Columbus, Ohio, Fort Wayne, Indiana, and then commencing our approach into Chicago over the bottom of Lake Michigan. Cruising altitude today, 34,000 feet. Now, as you may have noticed, there is no in-flight entertainment on these domestic A320s, but they do have Wi-Fi for first-class passengers at least. I'm not sure about down in the back. You can get an overview of the route that you're doing, you can get all the information about your flight, the estimated time of arrival and everything, and all of the data that you'd want about your flight that you would normally get on the Airshow map system anyway. Once we'd reached cruising altitude, the first class flight attendant came around with my $300 muffin and cup of coffee, which was okay, it tasted quite nice, but for $300 I would have at least expected a nice breakfast. Coming into land at Chicago was really nice. We got a great view over the entire lakefront, the entire city of Chicago, as well as we came into land at Chicago's O'Hare International Airport, home of United Airlines.
gentlemen, welcome to Chicago, where the local time is approximately 8:52 a.m. There has been a 1-hour time change. We will be taxiing for a few minutes. Please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the airplane comes to a complete stop and the captain turns off the seatbelt sign.
And so we'd landed at Chicago O'Hare International, one of the biggest airports in the United States, and our delays weren't over just yet. Because of an aircraft blocking our gate, we ended up being put into the penalty box for a few minutes where we just waited and waited for our gate to become available. So once I disembarked the aircraft, it was time to walk to the main concourse here at O'Hare Airport, and to do that you walk through this incredible tunnel of neon lights and music. It's an art installation that was installed in 1987 by an artist called Michael Hayden, and it just is a really unique piece of work to find at an international airport. Walking through O'Hare's terminal after the art installation felt quite familiar. In fact, it's probably because I've seen it so many times in movies, especially things like Home Alone, where O'Hare has featured quite heavily. Overall, I found United Airlines a really nice way of getting from DC over to Chicago. Was it worth paying the extra $300 for 2 cups of coffee and a muffin? The jury's out on that one, I think. I don't think I'd pay for it again, although if I got upgraded I certainly wouldn't complain because the seat upgrade was pretty nice. It's just a shame that airlines in the US haven't grasped the concept of giving lounge access to people on business class tickets, because that is a really big part for me of what makes it worthwhile upgrading to a business class ticket on a short flight. Well guys, thanks very much for watching this week's Trip Report. I really hope you've enjoyed my review of United Airlines first class domestic service. Take care, and I'll see you next time here on In-Flight Video.